Let's try this again. Now, there are several different areas where the healthcare cost has been problematic throughout the United States. Now, the first area that we're going to look at is in economics. Now, according to the Kennedy School Review, the growth rate of healthcare spending is twice that of the general economic growth rate. So basically what that is saying is that the healthcare spending is increasing twice as fast as the spending on general goods and services throughout the United States, which is a pretty big number considering the fact that 18% of the total GDP is spent on healthcare in America. Now, if this trend increases, by the year 2037, 1 in 4 US dollars will be spent each year on healthcare, which is a big problem that needs to be issued as soon as possible. Now, the next area that we see problems in healthcare spending is in politics. Now, the problem first started back when the Affordable Care Act was introduced by President Barack Obama. Now, according to the Kennedy School Review, the Trump administration is trying to do what they can to try to solve the crisis and decrease the spending cost for all citizens of the United States. So there are also social issues that are caused by the high healthcare costs. Now, many Americans now are left without health insurance, and we'll get to that number later. But if the spending continues to increase, the next class and the next set of people that will be affected will be the middle class, and which is a big problem because the middle class makes up the majority of our economy. So according to Thomas Kingsley, Congress needs to start paying attention to the middle class and the needs of ordinary citizens instead of those of powerful businesses and powerful figures of the United States. Now, the final area that we're going to look at is problems geographically, the United States compared to other countries. And the example that we're going to look at is Japan. Now, Japan is among the healthiest countries in the world, despite spending much less than the United States on medications, medical procedures, and diagnostic tests. So many people, when they think that they spend less, they might think that the quality of healthcare is worse than the United States. In fact, that is not the case, and according to the Kennedy School Review, death due to medical error during surgery is 3 times higher in the United States than it is in Japan. So despite spending a lot less than the United States, Japan still has a very high quality healthcare system. Now, the biggest effect that is seen from the high healthcare cost, as I mentioned earlier, is that many Americans are left without health insurance. In fact, according to the Kennedy School Review again, 47 million Americans are without health care because of the high cost. So they're unable to afford health care, and that problem needs to be addressed, which we'll talk about later. So the biggest cause of the healthcare crisis is in the past few decades, there's been an increased cost of new drugs, new technologies, and medical procedures, which have had a big impact on the increasing cost of healthcare. So the biggest criteria that we're going to look at for trying to solve the crisis, for any change to take place, we need to try to figure out more and more ways to decrease the cost of healthcare to try to make it more affordable for everyone and every citizen of the United States. Now we're going to turn it over to Jake, who's going to talk more about the solutions in trying to solve the healthcare crisis.